Hey folks, Ray Bessette here from raybessette.com. I'm here with another episode of Fitness Through Science and Not Fiction. Today's topic is, we're going to talk about fat today. We're going to talk about what it is, what it's made of, the devices or those gimmicks and myths that you hear about how to lose fat, and actually, where does fat go? How does it melt off of you? Where does it go? How does it get off? Does it come through your skin? Anyway, we're going to talk about that. I'm going to do a little slide presentation. Tell you a little bit about myself here. I'm 59 years old. I'll be 60 here in about 5 or 6 weeks. I have 4 national certifications. I don't want to bore you with all the letters. It's almost like saying the alphabet. I've been in the fitness business I've been lifting weights for over 40 something years. So I started when I was 13. I was a gymnast, and our coach believed in lifting weights. If you can lift weights and then lift your own weight is easy. Anyway, that's a little bit about me. I'm also a cancer exercise specialist. So I work with a lot of special populations, morbidly obese people, as well as rehabbing knees and shoulders, hips. So I do a lot of rehab work. Special populations meaning people with illnesses, diabetes, and things of that sort. And I do that through nutrition and sometimes through hormones. I have a physician and pharmacist that I work with. And let's get into the presentation here. I'm at Raw Gym. This is my own private office right here that we're in now. I have a bioimpedance scale that measures your weight, your fat weight. It tells me also what your muscle weight is, what your water weight is, and what your body fat percentage is. And we use that as a starting tool to chart your progress. Because if you don't know where you began, it's kind of hard to know where you're going. And also we use that just as another tool, as a measurement. Plus I'll do some measurements with, actually your clothes are the best measurement. It's a constant tape measure around your waist or around your hips, thighs, bat wings. You know all the names. Anyway, so I'm here in Texas, Tomball, Texas, on Spring Cypress. Just a disclaimer: anything that I say, is just it's not approved by the FDA or anything like that. I'm not here to treat or to cure anybody. I've done a lot of research. That's my job, basically, other than being a personal trainer and a bodybuilder. I research all the time. So if you don't see me out on the floor, you see me in my office, and I'm researching topics that we're going to be talking about today. Everybody ages. Everybody gets fat. A lot of people, I like the saying here, when you're young, you discard your health to gain wealth. And as you get older, you discard your wealth to get back your health. In other words, when you're young, you think you're indestructible. And it happens to everybody. Most of my client base is over 40 years old, or even 50, when their kids go off to college and they look at themselves and they say, I'm retirement age, and I'm not healthy. My doctor tells me this. I have high cholesterol, I have high blood pressure, I have all these preventive diabetic, precancerous, or I guess everybody's precancerous. But anyway, all these are preventable diseases. Everybody has this line in line within them. If you're dealt a bad card, and you have a trigger where you have an unhealthy lifestyle, more than likely you're going to get one of these conditions. I'm here to help you manage those conditions. All right. Anyway, this is Arnold Schwarzenegger. So I guess he went from Conan to the Governor here. Anyway, so like I mentioned before, I'm a researcher. I like to look at myself as a lipid muscle researcher. Lipid meaning fat and muscle. Our bodies are made of muscle, fat, and water. So what should we eat? We'll get into that later. Muscle, protein, and water, right? Okay. So anyway, I get my information not from these magazines, but from medical literature, evidence-based medicine. of that sort. And it's not like I heard it bounce off of somebody else that heard from somebody else that wasn't a reliable source. So you can bet that when you hear it from me, it's coming from the medical literature. Okay? So anyway, it's none of these books. It's more like this. Your textbook of medical physiology and things of that sort. I like this one. There are two ways to be fooled. One of them is to, I like to always say this, it's easier to fool someone than convince them that they've been fooled. So a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today, a lot of myths that you've heard before. And these myths, nobody wants to hear that somebody told them something, you believed it for years and years, and then all of a sudden I say it's wrong. No, fat is good for you. It's wrong. Remember that food pyramid when the FDA said that to take in more carbohydrates and breads and starches? Boy, was that wrong. Did you get an apology? I didn't get an apology notice. They never said sorry. The pyramid was actually upside down. All right, anyway, so again, it's easier to fool someone than convince them that they've been fooled. I like that one. Here's a shake that I like this. This is one of many of these, the evolution of people, from primates to today's morbidly obese person with a Coke in their hand. I have a system called the Biofirm system, and I use three mechanisms or like anti-inflammatory nutrition. That is meaning that you're actually eating non-processed food that actually, if you set it on the table, it would rot. If it rots, then it oxidizes in air, and if it oxidizes in air, it's digestible. You can eat chicken and broccoli like the bodybuilders do. They don't understand that with the chicken that they're buying is full of hormones and antibiotics. You need to pasteurize the stuff from a farm. I know we all don't live in a farm, but I got a solution for that. And I have my own sources, and when you come to see me, you get to see all that in one package. Also, the hormonal balance. I do a blood test to find out. It's optional. These are just optional options too. The personal training is a given. Okay, that's just what other personal trainers do. But I actually get into the chemistry or to the biology of yourself. I just like to start from the inside out. I want to see what's going on the inside. And also, it's another good measurement. If I know what your sugar levels are, your glucose, your A1C, which is a measurement for glucose or sugar over 3 months, and it's in the diabetic mode, and it comes down, we can use that as another measurement. And usually we measure every 3 months. And also the personal training, like I mentioned before. And that is the weight training. That's breaking down the muscle and rebuilding it. Not working out like CrossFit or making run through tires or turning them over, skipping rope or doing lunges, walking lunges, things like that. I mean, myself being 59 years old, I know how it is to be young, but I also know how it is to be a little bit older. And our body doesn't function like it did 20, 30, 40 years ago. So let's get into the biochemistry. We were hunters and gatherers. In other words, we hunt our meat. We didn't run 26.2 miles and then drink beer and then eat goop or sugar or a high carb or spaghetti diet after. No, we ran 10 yards, we killed something, we ate it like a tagger. Run 10, 15 yards, kill it, eat it, and then rest. So that's how we evolved. That's how our bodies are set up. So what should we do now? Well, of course we're not going to do that. Food is abundant. It's all over. I mean, we can go to the store. We have an overabundance of food to choose from. So nowadays we have to be careful and pick out the right things because our choices are so many of them. And there's so many ways that the manufacturers can kind of mislead you into buying something you probably wouldn't. If somebody explained it to you, you probably wouldn't eat it. Okay, explain what's in it and how they process it and how adulterated it is. And I mean, anything you leave out in the garage for 3 years and come back and it still hasn't rotted, even the rats won't eat it because they're smarter than we are. It's probably not good for you. It becomes an inflammatory. And if it's inflamed, it inflames your internal organs. You know how if you have a bad knee and sometimes it flares up more than others? Well, you blame it on the weather. It's not the weather. It's what you ate. It's the inflammation that causes the inflammation. Or amplifies the inflammation is what I should say. Anyway, so today this is what we get to choose from. 90% of our food in the stores are processed. You say you walk the perimeter of the aisles and you're going to get a better choice. Well, yeah, if you want to believe some of the labels, again, you can't live on a farm, but I have all kinds of other methods of getting you to where you need to be rather than just going to the grocery shop and have a food service that actually can make the food for you, and it's pretty easy, and you can learn from that too. And then from that, we can go from there. But anyways, just the education of how to pick food out in the grocery stores. If you have good choices coming out of the grocery stores, going into your refrigerator in the pantry, you're going to make good choices at home. And that's what I teach. It's all about the education as far as the nutrition goes. Processed food, again, the oils, the canola oil, you might as well call it poison. You go to a restaurant, it's going to be soybean oil. That's, again, another poison. Soybean oil, well, you go to, I've had clients that found out they had cancer, and the first thing they tell you at MD Anderson is to stop eating all soy products. So what does that tell you? If you would have stopped eating soy a long time ago, you might not be in the position or the conditions that you have. Okay, so anyway, so we talk about what is processed and what is an inflammatory and how you can get around these things. I have an answer for everything. I've been in the business for a long time. Okay, this is today's norm. This kid right here. Remember, back in high school, it was in the 70s, or in grade school in the late 60s, early 70s, we'd have one or two kids in the whole school like this that was obese, morbidly obese. I'll never forget him. The kid that we had, the fat kid. Now, this is the norm. This is the normal kid, and it's going to get worse, unfortunately, and it comes from the fast food because it's convenient. We have parents that are both working and coming home. What do you want to do? You don't want to take the time to cook or take the time to do this, take the time to do that. But you're going to take the time going to the doctors, going to the pharmacy and all that, so you might as well get it down right and live it a little bit longer. I can teach you the tricks, and once you get the tricks down, it's not that difficult, okay? It's just the education part. I keep saying that word, education. Okay, what's a carbohydrate? Well, a carbohydrate is a potato. It's rice. It's sugar. Okay, what's the medical definition is as long as you don't take in too many carbohydrates. If you're an athlete, if you're a weight trainer, if you're an Olympian, or somebody who really works out a lot, or works construction, you're going to burn off a lot of glucose or sugar. Okay, that's okay. You can get away with it. If your body fat is over 30%, you should stay away from carbohydrates. Okay, well, how do you get your energy if you stay away from? And by the way, carbohydrates is just a long word for sugar. Okay, so what do I do if I can't have carbohydrates or sugar? Where do I get my energy from? Fat, and we'll get into that a little bit. Fat is the most important, or I should say, it is. You can't live without fat. You can't live without protein. You can live without carbohydrates. There's nothing that says you need carbohydrates in the medical literature. Okay. Now, how do I get sugar to my brain? Well, it doesn't take very much sugar for your brain to run. At any time in your body, you only have 1 teaspoon of sugar. That's it. That's all that's needed. And your liver can actually produce sugar from protein. It can convert protein into sugar. So you will never die because of carbohydrate starvation. Okay? Just like in the Holocaust. The people that died in the Holocaust mostly died of starvation, and they fed them rice. What is rice? A carbohydrate. Okay? It's so you can't live without protein, and you can't live without fat, but you can't live without carbohydrates. I train without very low carbohydrates or sugar. because I keep my good fat levels high. And your body prefers fat for energy. We'll get into that in a little bit. Okay, look how much sugar is in things. Look at Coke. Look how much sugar is in that. And some of the things that you don't think you're going to have a lot of sugar in. Okay, this just kind of puts it down and shows you in perspective on how much sugar is in our food. And if you don't think you're having a lot of sugar, believe me, it's hidden somewhere. And because it says sugar-free, doesn't mean it's not chemical-free. So again, the food manufacturers are very tricky in what they do. Over here, you know, if you get in too much sugar in you all the time, your pancreas is going to secrete insulin. And it keeps secreting insulin, and insulin is going to wear your pancreas out to the point where you're going to have to start, your pancreas is going to shut down. Okay, it's called diabetes or pre-diabetic, and you're going to have to inject insulin to make up for that, for the insulin not working from your pancreas. Now, you know, take your choice, all right? It can be reversed. In weight training is the best way to do it. Doctor can give you medications like metformin. Okay, that's fine. It's going to relieve the symptoms. Great for doctors. They're great at relieving symptoms, but they're not all that great about curing the problem in the first place. You ever have a doctor ask you what you ate today or what you eat? Well, how important is that? That's why you're going to see the doctor probably anyways, because you didn't eat right or didn't exercise or didn't move. Okay? All right, remember I mentioned I have an arsenal of products here that can get you through the nutrition part, and like my meals, fitandfirmfoods.com. This is foods that's from farms that are pasteurized from farms. Everything is 100% as natural as you can get, and I mean the real natural, not the supermarket natural. The Marigold bars, marigoldbars.com. I eat anywhere from 6 to 12 of these a day. Depends on the day. They almost taste like candy, and I hate to say the word candy. They have about 20 to 23 grams of protein, and the sugar is anywhere or 4 or 5 grams at the most. And that's a very good number right there. Then I have my Extend Life. Remember I mentioned about fat. The essential fatty acids are the best thing for you as far as energy. Your body can utilize for energy either sugar or fat. It prefers to burn fat, but in the presence of sugar, it'll use sugar first. You never get down to your fat cells. It's like doing cardio. You never get down to your fat cells to release, to use for energy, because you're too busy with too much sugar in your blood as it is. This helps you stop your cravings from carbohydrates and sugars and get your body towards burning fat. Okay, so that's Extend Life, essential fatty acids. You can go on my website raybessette.com, and you can go ahead and email me, and I can get you a bottle of these. $45. This will last you at least a month. Okay, and the other supplements I get from, there's Pharmaceutical Grade. I was asked what Pharmaceutical Grade means. I have an account, meaning I have a healthcare professional, doctor and pharmacist, that allow me the ability to get an account for the most purest ingredients in their food. It's absorbable. It actually is absorbable. It's not from the supplement stores. It comes right from the manufacturers, like Life Extension, Designs for Health, Rejuvenation Science, and so on. Okay, so this is all top grade stuff. Put it this way, I take it, and the only stuff that I will sell is the stuff that I take that I know that is going to help you out. Because if you don't look good, neither do I. And I like looking good. Anyway, so it kind of looks like this. This protein powder right here is from Designs for Health. Tastes great, mixes good with quite a bit of things. I will use almond milk because it has less sugar in it, with frozen blueberries, and put it in a bullet and shake it up and drink it. If you take one of those with the Marigold bars, my God, it is like heaven. And there's a Cinnabon that I microwave for 30 seconds and drink it with coffee. I'm talking about the Marigold bars. You are like in heaven with only about 3 or 4 grams of sugar at the most, plus about 23 grams of protein. This thing is the best bang for your buck. Plus, you can see those meals. There's 2 meals up here. That's Fit and Firm Foods, fitandfirmfood.com. Okay, greatest stuff on the planet. It comes to you, you just throw it in the microwave, and it's hard to believe that food can taste that good and be that good for you. Here's another thing. You take the lid off of any of this stuff, and you leave it out, it's going to start to rot in a few days. So that's another indication that it is really pure, natural. I hate to use the word natural, but it can oxidize with the air. If it oxidizes with the air, that means it's digestible and it's a non-inflammatory. Okay? Most foods are inflammatory, and that causes fat. Well, this is Arnold and I worked for state government, and Arnold visited the governor's office. I just happened to work for the governor. And we had a short little chat, and I gave him some tips on training and stuff like that. I tried to get in one of his Terminator movies, but he got into politics. You know the story after that. Anyway, biomechanics, lifting weights. What is the purpose of exercise? Is it to burn as many calories as you can? No, it's not. It's to stimulate your muscles, to break them down and to stimulate them, not annihilate them, but to break them down so they rebuild. It's called catabolism, okay, the breaking down. Anabolism is building them back up. And together it's called metabolism. Metabolism is what burns calories at rest. Now, you burn more calories at rest than any time during the day. Not when you're lifting weights, not when you're working out, but when you're, and we'll get into this later, it's called beta oxidation, okay? So you want to stimulate your muscle. That's what kills me, is that, I'm just stimulating muscles specifically to a muscle group. Then I'm going to a specific other muscle group on a different day while the other group is repairing. Like I'll do upper body and then lower body, for an example. That's what I do with my clients, so that your body has a chance to repair itself. Most people overtrain. Number one, they're doing the exercises incorrectly, or they're doing 2 muscle groups in a row that are affecting each other, and they never get repaired. If a muscle gets broken down and it can't repair, it can't rebuild. So if you're getting weaker and you can't sleep at night and you're not seeing any gains, more likely you're overtraining. And that's what I see all the time. Okay, moving right along. Okay, it takes 3,500 calories to burn a pound of fat. Now that's if you want to play the calorie game. I don't like playing the calorie game because a calorie is not a calorie, is a calorie. What is the definition of a calorie? How many times did I say calorie? Anyway, definition of a calorie is how fast it can burn it's how fast something burns. Fat takes a long time to burn. If you take some fat and you put it in a dish and burn it, it's going to take a long time to burn. Diet soda, for an example. There's no calories, so it burns real quick. There's 9 calories per gram in fat. There's only 4 calories in carbohydrates. So wait a minute, if I played my calorie game, well, wouldn't I eat carbohydrates instead of fat? Well, wait a minute. Now, if we look at the book of human physiology, fat cannot turn to fat. It's physiologically impossible because it's already fat. How can fat turn to fat when it's already fat? It's going to be used for structure somewhere in your body. Where carbohydrates, if not burned off, will go through the Krebs cycle. In other videos, I've talked about the Krebs cycle. The Krebs cycle ends up as a triglyceride, which turns into a lipid or finds a nice place where you're genetically destined to hold that fat, whether it's in your gut, butt, thighs, bat wings. Depends. You can just thank your parents for wherever it shows up. Anyway, so that's where we are as far as the fat goes, and where it goes. I lost my place here. Let's go down here. Up. Okay. So weight training is the best bang for your buck. In other words, cardio has its place. I do cardio when I'm too sore to lift weights. So that's really my cardio day. Or if I'm getting ready for a physique or bodybuilding contest, I'll do cardio. But weight training for an hour will give you another 72 hours of burning calories all the time. So if there's 168 hours of the week, and you're only working out 3 times a week, let's just say the average person, That's only 3 hours out of 160, possible 168 hours. So how are you going to get to 3,500 calories if you're only burning 500 calories every time you work out? That's only 1,500 calories. You take forever to lose actual fat, not water, actual fat. So when you break down the muscle, you can sleep and burn calories. Just resting and burning calories. Now that's what I call losing fat. Actual fat. You don't have to do anything but stimulate your muscle, let your muscle break down in catabolism, build up anabolism, that equals metabolism. Weight training, best bang for your buck. Again, cardio has its place. On the off days, you can put in cardio, okay? But your main source of losing fat should be from weight training. It also builds up strengthens your bones. You know, ladies over 40 years old, you know, your bone density starts going down pretty dramatically. And again, cardio, like I mentioned, I like the saying, is cardio should consist of you running to the squat rack. There's your cardio. Weight training builds mass. And again, this just amplifies what I'm saying about the weight training part. You know, I have a lot of women that say, well, I don't want to bulk up. I'm like, no, you're not going to bulk up, and it doesn't happen by accident. There's a few freaky genetics out there, but very seldom do I see somebody that can actually build a pound of muscle, for an example, in a year. A real pound of muscle, you know, especially a woman. Okay, so it takes a long time. This lady right here is one of my cancer patients, and she had a double mastectomy, and after she was cleared, we actually got her ready for a bodybuilding contest. Now, I don't train everybody to do bodybuilding contests, but I do use the same principles, because the principles of a bodybuilder work for everybody. It actually works. Doesn't mean you have to amp it up that much. We just kind of condition it down to your level or to where your goals are. But we use the principles. We use the weight training. We use the cardio. When you're not weight training, we use a lower carbohydrate, higher fat, higher protein nutrition. And I've got all the bag of tricks for those. Okay, the science behind it to back what I'm saying. Okay, bioidenticals or hormone replacement. Now, the benefits of hormone replacement, you've probably heard this before. The testosterone is going to give men and women a lot more energy. When you're between the ages of 14 and 25, your hormone levels were through the roof. You might go to your doctor and they say, well, bioidenticals I should say, they don't know about bioidenticals. They're not taught that in medical school, but they'll say that testosterone causes cancer. Well, there was a study done back in the 50s that one guy out of 1,000 got prostate cancer that probably would have gotten it anyway. And everybody always reflects back to that, but they didn't say that it was also, it wasn't a bioidentical, it was a synthetic testosterone approved by the FDA that actually was correlated to it. It didn't cause it, it just happened to be, it just happened to happen. I mean, most men are going to die with prostate cancer. They don't have to die of it. Anyway, so, and not too many 14-year-olds to 25 die of prostate cancer or any kind of cancer, man or woman, any kind of cancer. No, it's when you're 50 or 60 when your levels start dropping down. And if you can't lose weight, you've tried everything, more than likely it's your hormones. And with women, your estrogen levels, they stay the same, but your progesterone starts going down. And progesterone opposes estrogen. So if you ever heard the phrase estrogen dominant, okay, and the hips are getting wider, that's a good indicator right there. I also look for insulin levels. Insulin is a very powerful hormone that makes things grow. My God, why wouldn't you check for your insulin levels? It also is a precursor to diabetes. Well, you know why? Because it's not covered by insurance, and most doctors won't put it on there, even though they know about if they know about it. They won't put it on there because if you don't pay it and the insurance company charges you, and you don't pay it, then the doctor gets in all kinds of issues with the insurance companies, and the insurance companies could drop them. So that's why their blood test isn't as comprehensive as it could be. Okay, I don't believe that doctors don't know what they're doing, of course, but when it comes to hormones, they're not taught very much in medical school, if anything at all, just like nutrition. And again, here's my hormone testing. And, guys I've had in their early 30s with a testosterone level of under 300. And a lot of it is because of the food that we eat is so hormonally injected, and the antibiotics, that's a different story, but there's so much hormones in the food that we eat, it messes up our own production. And so men, have you ever seen the commercial that says Nutrigenics? They say, you have less testosterone than your father, and even less than your grandfather. But they don't say how come. Well, because of the food today, it'd be injecting these cows so they get bigger, so they can get bigger, more meat off the animal and sell for more profit. But they're neglecting on the condition of the human that has to consume this, because we're starting to get the effects of whatever that cow ate, or whatever animal it is. Okay, here's a good sign. Sign of a good doctor should be how many patients can get off medications, not how many that he puts on or she puts on. So ask your doctor if you have if there's a problem with you're not taking enough medication. Ask your doctor in the commercials. You ever see those commercials? Ask your doctor if this is okay for you. It's like they're salesmen all the time. You don't need medications. The best medication is diet and exercise. Period. That'll keep you away from the other medications that you don't even have to be on, like statin drugs. That is the most preventable medication in the world. And even when you take statin drugs, it actually slows the coenzymes going to your mitochondria, which is in your muscle. And the most concentrated amount of mitochondria is in your heart. So it actually slows down your heart to control your cholesterol. And that's just mostly a diet and exercise issue to begin with. So just keep that in mind. Ask your doctor. Again, they don't take it. They don't take any nutrition classes, and they don't take any hormone classes or any kind of education as far as that. That all is done by themselves. I'm not saying that every doctor doesn't know anything about nutrition or hormones, but it's very far and few. Okay, this is what my blood test looks like. There a lot of this right here you can take to your doctor. It's online. You just go on raybessette.com and this pops up there under the hormonal balance. Take it to your doctor. They'll look at it and probably laugh because it's not going to be covered by insurance. With me, it's all cash based. This blood test right here I've had priced out, and it's anywhere from $1,400 from LabCorp to $1,700 to Quest. Okay, and I charge $500. Okay, and this is a very comprehensive. I'll sit down with you. It's free with me. It comes with the purchase of the labs, and I can make a case and say, you know what, you can take it to your doctor. You can take it to one of my physicians, and I also have a pharmacist that is a hormone replacement therapist, and so. It's your choice. There's many choices. Most doctors don't give you choices. I give you a lot of choices on what route to go with. I don't look at it. I look at it as health care, not sick care. Doctors are more looking for the symptoms and treating those symptoms. And that's it. But we need to find out what caused the symptom. Otherwise, you're just masking that symptom. It never goes away. But don't worry. There's another medication for that too. And then before you know it, you get to be my age at 60 years old, and you're on 14 medications. It's ridiculous. Okay. Stress. Stress is another reason why medications are so popular. What does stress do? I like to use the example of a zebra out grazing out in the field, and all of a sudden a tiger comes running at him. And all of a sudden, the zebra sees the tiger coming at him. All of a sudden, all the blood going to the the immune system, your thyroid decreases, your arms and legs get more blood in them because it's away from your gut. Your heart rate goes up, blood pressure goes up, all the stuff that you don't need right then and there because you're going to get eaten by a tiger. This kind of stress happens to humans too. This kind of stress happens to humans without us doing anything. It can be emotional, it can be physical, or it can be emotional, physical, emotional, physical. Anyway, so what it's called a sympathetic dominant state, where it's always in our body. We don't have a flip. When that zebra gets away from the tiger, the zebra goes back to normal gut supply, goes back to normal blood pressure. The heart rate comes back down. With us as humans, we don't have that switch, and sometimes our cortisol goes up and our thyroid goes down, and we stay in that mode. So a lot of times, if you have a sluggish thyroid, it's not the thyroid all the time. I'm not saying every time. I'm saying sometimes it's your cortisol levels, and I test for cortisol too. If your cortisol's up, your thyroid's going to be down. So what do? We look to fix the cortisol, and I do that through supplements to start with, and then medications through my physician if needed. But what I do is I do the holistic approach before anything at all, before you see a physician. We just try the things that, it's holistic, again, which you would have done back in the 1800s, okay? So anyway, so that's the stress part. Again, physical, emotional, and chemicals, right up there. Chemical, I forgot. Chemical is the food that we eat. Chemicals causes stress. The inflammation causes stress to our body. It takes the gut supply away. We can't digest as well. And emotional can be in traffic, kids, marriage. Physical is just I can't sleep at night. I'm overtraining. Those kind of stress factors, have all this effect on you. So stress is a big reason for somebody not losing weight. Here's a good one. When I have my people stand on my bioimpedance scale to find out what their progress is, all of a sudden they get stressed out. So if they're stressed out when they're doing that, they've got that on their mind all the time, that number is going to be, am I going to have a good day or am I going to have a bad day? You see what I mean? So those kind of stressors, then I know that those kind of stresses means that they're always thinking about it. And a lot of times, don't think about it, just do it. And give it its time. Give it, be consistent, give it time, and let me see, with the time, consistency, and be patient. Things you didn't get that way, or if you have an issue where you have the gut thing, it didn't get there overnight, it doesn't leave that way. And if it does leave that way, it's going to come back that fast. If it goes fast, it's going to come back fast. With me, at least you get educated and find out what causes fat, how it leaves you, and you understand. You just don't take directions. If you buy these food things on TV, all the the Nutrisystems and the Weight Watchers and stuff like that, what does that teach you? Teach you how to take a frozen dinner and pop it in and eat their little bitty smaller portions. Does it work? Yeah, because you're eating less than you did before. But does that last? No. That's why they have these specials all the time. That's why in the beginning of the year, every other commercial you see Oprah, okay, selling something. Okay, does it work? No. All right, there's a lot of gimmicky things. I don't sell gimmicks. I talked about my bioimpedance scale, and I talked about what we look for. We look for fat, we look for muscle, and we look for water weight. Getting back to people that get on the scale all the time, you get up in the morning, you get on the scale, you usually urinate, get on your scale naked. Well, you're going to be dehydrated, or you should know that you're dehydrated, you just urinated, you're the lightest you're going to be all day. So that's when people get on the scale. Well, at noon or at 5 o'clock, you're going to be another measurement or another weight. Okay, so it's all about water. I mean, water in the muscles, about 70%. 70% of the water that you have in your body is in your muscles. Okay, so you're just playing with water. And that's what most of the food companies I just talked about, what they're playing with is just water, and it doesn't last long. What I focus on is the results like this. This might be kind of hard to see, but I also actually did. There's somebody I know that sells this ridiculous gimmicky HGH cream, and she asked me what I thought about it, and I told her, and one of my doctors and pharmacists told her the same thing, that number one, HGH is not regulated is regulated by the FDA. You need a prescription for it. It's not approved by the FDA, and in order to get it, you need a prescription. Well, this stuff you rub it on, and it's at 30% or 30. It's diluted to the 30th power, which is equivalent to me. Let's put it this way, if I claim that my saliva was an anti-aging drug, and I spit in the ocean, and I told you to go ahead and dip your hand in the ocean, and you'll get, the fountain of youth all over your body. That's about the equivalent to the 30th power of HGH in this cream that's rubbed on. Okay, so most of it, and there's no scientific background. They say it's homeopathic, but it's diluted so much that somehow down the line they put a little droplet of HGH in there because it would be regulated by the FDA. They would not have it. They couldn't have it out on as a market. And there's a couple of different products out there that claim that HGH it does this, it does that, but they're interviewing people that probably are distributors of it anyway, or their cousins, their uncles, their relatives. They say, yeah, it did work great. It made my nails better, my hair grew out, and my teeth aren't so yellow. Those testimonies mean nothing. There's nothing scientific about it. If you don't understand the pathways, the metabolic pathways, if that's not spelled out for you, even if you don't understand it, you don't see it, all they do, if you go on the website to most of these places, all they talk about is the pyramid scam that how much money you can make. You buy it for $80, you sell it for $189 if you buy 48 bottles. What does that tell you? The ingredients are cheap. All it is amino acids, and they throw in a couple of other things. Is it going to be okay for you? Yeah, probably, but it's more of like, snake oil and saying you're going to sleep better. Well, if somebody kept telling you you're going to sleep better, did you sleep better? Did you sleep better? You're probably going to say, yeah, I did, just to keep them off your back. It's a multi-level marketing thing too. Most of those things, and they're just garbage. Again, it's not one thing that does it. It's a series of lifestyle changes. If you want to look and feel good, it's not one product. It can't be. I'll show you some of these products that don't work. All right, anyway, I can show you something that does work. I did a little experiment with myself in the middle of March 14th to June 11th. In other words, to measure, here's a good one, for HGH. To measure HGH, you do a blood test. You can't do a blood test on HGH because it goes up and down in your body all through the day and night. Okay? It actually comes out when you lift weights or you fast or you go to sleep. Well, you're fasting when you sleep anyway. So that's when growth hormone, if you want to activate your growth hormone and do it for nothing, lift weights. If you want to do it for nothing real cheaply and lazy, sleep or fast. Okay? That's when your growth hormone comes out. Now, how do you measure growth hormone? It's called the insulin-like growth factor. Okay? I had that measured on me. On 3/14 of this year, my numbers were 147. The range is 54 to 194. Now, the first thing I would have to ask myself, why would I go on this stupid cream that I rub on my arm when I don't know if I'm deficient in this cream? Am I deficient in prescriptions? Do I say to my doctor, you know what, I don't have any blood pressure medication, I don't have a statin drug, I don't have a heart medicine or ACE inhibitor. I have a deficiency in drugs. I need some medications. Now, would you go up to a doctor and say that? No. So why would you go to somebody, or somebody come to you selling a cream, if your growth hormone is in the high range like mine is? My range is 147, and the range for growth like hormone factor is 54 to 194. I'm already at 147. So in 3 months, it went up to 151. Now I had to take injections. That's the way you do it to get the real stuff. And it's called IGF-1. Okay, I had my C-reactive protein tested also because growth hormone will help your inflammation levels. Okay, that part is true. It's not going to come from a cream that's at 30 to the 30th power of dilution and pray to God that the sky's going to open up and poof, all of a sudden you have growth hormone coming out your ears. It doesn't work that way, folks. It doesn't. Put it this way. If your municipal water had arsenic, which is a poison to the 12th power, it would still be safe to drink. So can you imagine to the 30th power? That's in the trillions to the dilution factor. It's just it's a scam. Anyway, so my C-reactive protein, on the high point is 4.9. That anywhere from 0 to 4.9 is the range. I come out at 2.6, which is pretty good. After 3 months from March to June, I went to 0.7. That's hardly anything. So I know that the growth hormone factor did work on me as far as that. I also did clean up my diet. I also started exercising a little bit more. You're saying, oh, you already look like you already do, but not to the level that I am at now. Okay. My glucose levels went from 99, and by the way, the range on this is 65 to 99. That's fasting all night, and how much sugar you have left in your blood is the glucose. Mine started at 99, which is in the normal range. It went down to 62, which is actually kind of low. That's how low my sugar went. Well, sugar is inflammation. The growth hormone-like factor, which I was injecting, brought me down by a doctor, by the way, okay, prescribed by a doctor, brought me down to a pretty low glucose, plus the diet and plus the exercise. Okay, those other factors. It's not just one thing. Okay, my hemoglobin A1C, the range for A1C is 4.6 to 5.7. That's in the normal range. Or 5.6. I'm sorry, 5.6. 5.7 to 6.3 is pre-diabetic, and 6.4 up is full-blown diabetic. Okay, and I've had people up to 1402 as far as their insulin, their A1C, and I have gotten them down to half of that within 3 months. Now, that's pretty remarkable. And all I did again was change up their diet a little bit, not anything substantial. Not at first. It was just kind of like, instead of turning the light switch on and off, I have a little dimmer switch. We just kind of slowly turned it down. Okay, so then, so anyway, I went from 5.5, which again is right in the normal zone, down to 5.2. All right, so now I'm going, that's from a blood test, okay? There were some other things on there, but those were the things that I was focusing on. Now, on my Tenea scale, I started out at 200.2 pounds, and in 3 months I get down to 191.4. You're saying, well, that's not that big of a deal. Well, let's just see what I lost. Was it fat? Was it water? Or was it muscle? It had to be one of the three, because that's what our bodies are made of. Okay, well, let's see. My body mass index went from 31.8 to 30.4. Body mass index really is nothing. It's just a chart that says, okay, if you're this tall, weigh this much, this is where you must be. That's all it is. Now, anything over 30% is clinically obese. So I'm really clinically obese. Can you believe it? Yeah, clinically obese. No, I'm not clinically obese because let me keep going. So my actual body fat started out at 17.9%. This is back March 14th. On 6/11, June of this year, it went down to 13.5%. So I lost over 3% body fat. Well, let's look at the fat range. Let's look at the fat in pounds. My fat in pounds was 35.8. And after 3 months, it went down to 25.8. That's 10 pounds. That's 10 pounds of actual fat. And that's the big difference than actually losing 10 pounds or losing 10 pounds of fat. It's a big difference. Okay, and the reason why I say that is, well, let's subtract 200 from 10 from 10 pounds of fat, it should be 190, but I'm at 191.4. Oh, let's look at the muscle side. Fat-free mass, which is muscle. I was at 164.4. Now I'm at 165.6. So I actually gained a pound of muscle while losing 10 pounds of fat. Let me tell you something, folks. If you can do that, all right, with my method, I did it. It's right here. You can see it right here. You're not listening to somebody in Iowa going, yeah, I lost 10 pounds of fat. I swear to God, it was easy as heck. No, it's not. It's not easy. It's easy when you follow my procedures, and all it is basic science and human physiology, and it's kind of like mimicking bodybuilders, but at a lower level. Okay, just using the principles of bodybuilders. It works. They're not going to get up on stage and be and have fat hanging out anywhere. Okay, so anyway, this system works. Again, it's not any one thing. It's a combination of several things. It's called a lifestyle, and it's obtainable and it's manageable. You can have this for the rest of your life. That's the main part. How many times have you bought stupid things? Speaking of what? Well, let's look at what 5 pounds of fat looks like. That's 5 pounds of fat. Weighs about as much as a brick. Now you can times that by 2, and that's how much fat I lost. So now when you look at it that way, my God, that's quite a bit. Now when you look at somebody that lost 10 pounds, and they say I lost 10 pounds, and you're looking at them saying it doesn't really look like it, that's because it was mostly water. Okay, if you lose 10 pounds of fat, you're going to notice it. All right. What is fat made of? I had somebody ask me, what is fat made of? Well, the molecular structure is a carbon, a hydrogen, and an oxygen, okay? And then I had somebody else recently ask me, how does it come off of your body? Does it just melt off like they say in the commercials? No, it doesn't. You actually, let me go through this cycle real quick. Our energy comes really from plants, okay? The photons from the sun give the plants energy. The energy of the omega-3 in the plants, we either eat it or an animal eats it. It gets in their meat. We eat that animal, and we get the energy. It comes in as in the form of glucose. Now, plants give off oxygen and take in carbon dioxide. Okay, so we eat the cow that ate the plant, which is grass. We're all hunky-dory. Now, how many grass-fed cows, or how many plate markets sell real grass-fed meat? I don't know. It says it on the package. If you believe it, good for you. I don't. I get the real grass fed from the real farms, from the real eggs, from the real chickens, and all that. That's already talked about that. But anyway, so this is the molecular structure of fat. And the reason why I'm showing this is that when you secrete it, 84% of it is exhaled as CO2, as carbon monoxide. Now, remember when I said about the plant takes in the oxygen. It takes in carbon monoxide and burns off oxygen. Okay. Well, we're just putting the carbon dioxide back out into the air. So we're not having an environmental issue here. We're just exchanging gases here. So 84% of it is actually through beta oxidation. I remember earlier that I talked about how do you get rid of fat, or how does it come off? Well, it comes out through your breath. If you were to blow up a balloon and then freeze it, and you could actually see the particles of the fat, it's just a byproduct of carbon dioxide. And then 16% of it is secreted as water, urine, other bodily functions. But anyway, your fat and oxygen comes out as carbon dioxide or water, but most of it's exhaled. So when you see somebody breathing, all you have to do is after you weight train and you're breathing, you're actually losing fat. Okay, it just doesn't fall off in the parking lot. All right, here we go with shake weight. Okay, that was real popular about 10, 15 years ago. I don't see it out there very much anymore, if anything at all. I'm still here. So we know that doesn't ever work, or it's kind of a stupid thing. I just kind of make fun of it. If you ever saw the South Park video of this, it's just hilarious. Dimaster, okay, real popular back then. Just think of how much money you spend on all these devices. $20 here, $20 there. I sound like a heck of a deal if you're, over 10 years, you're still in the same place, if not worse off than you were 10 years ago, and you spent all this money on gadgets like this and it didn't work. You know, I'm teaching you a science, I'm teaching you an education about your body and how to live the rest of your life, you know, so that you can enjoy your golden years or your later years, you know. You know, HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin. It says it's no hormones added right here. Well, HCG is a hormone. The real stuff is it comes from a female placenta, and they're saying that no hormones added. I just think that's funny. So they're using the word HCG in their product, and it can't be HCG. Again, they use a and they use a bunch of amino acids and some other healthy things, but it's not what it says it is. Here's another one. I didn't want to use the name because I know somebody who sells this stuff. Anyway, you know, somatropin, HGH to the 30th power. It's like, it's non-existing. Believe me, you'll get more HGH closing your eyes and resting or lifting weights than paying $189 for this bottle. Okay, because your HGH or get the real stuff, or the growth hormone like factor like I did. It's about $140 a month, and that's and again, it's the real stuff. And you get a blood test, so you go back after 3 months and see what your measurements are. You know, I can say I look and feel good, but if I don't see the measurements, I didn't know if it was the diet that did it, the exercise that did it, the walking the dog that did it. You know, you don't know. It could be a psychological thing. You know, I put some cream on here and all of a sudden, you know, I can bench 315. Well, it wasn't the cream. It was probably, you know, something else that I did. Okay, so you don't really know. It also has soy in it too, which is nothing I would want to do. Like, here's another one, HGH. They're throwing around that HGH. You've seen it on the doctors. You've seen it in other, you know, using the human growth hormone buzzword, and you're saying, oh, it must be good. This one is Pro Blend, it's called. More like a problem. Anyway. And then here's the real stuff. This Samorlin is what I took, or what I take, to increase my growth hormone. And as you age, now that I'm approaching 60, you know, my growth hormone actually is staying up pretty high because of my diet, my exercise. So I just did the IGF-1 to promote my growth hormone, just to show you that it actually does work. Now, the person you bought that cream to, ask them how they measure it. How'd you feel? How do you feel? And what are you going to say? Oh, I feel great. But you also change your diet. You also change your exercise. You also change your eating habits. You changed a whole bunch of other things. You stopped smoking. Whatever. It wasn't just that one thing. But that's the stuff that I have a prescription for from a medical doctor and that I take. This is the real HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin. Okay, this right here was a fertility drug for a long time. Well, it is a fertility drug. It makes your testicles produce sperm, but it also has other principles. It also has it helps men's natural testosterone, stimulate men's natural testosterone, and I take that every 6 months for about 6 weeks. And here's some other products that you can get from a doctor's prescription through a blood test. This is the testosterone, and there's different types of testosterone. This is the actual HGH. This is the IGF-1, and again, there's some insulin there too. Hopefully, you wouldn't have to take the insulin because your pancreas is given out. Now here's the answer right here. Okay, remember I talked about the plant that takes in the photons and gets the omega-3. Okay, this right here is the unadulterated version of omega-3 and omega-6. I didn't talk about omega-6 yet, but omega-3 is supposed to come from the meat that we eat, the eggs that we have, the poultry that we have, but that's all been processed. Okay, so we're not getting the good omega-3. The omega-6 is the oils, like coconut oil, primrose oil, safflower, those oils, flaxseed oil, stuff like that. That's what's in here. and they're all pure and unadulterated. And this is what I take about 12 of these a day because I have asthma. And this is an oxygen magnet. This right here, this stuff, I don't take any medication for asthma anymore because of this stuff. And I went on vacation once and forgot to bring it, and I couldn't hardly breathe. So if you don't have that oxygen, omega-3 and cholesterol's job is to provide oxygen to the cell membrane. And if you don't have oxygen to the cell membrane, that's how cancer is developed. You need oxygen, and we're not getting oxygen from our food. Well, look at the cancer rates nowadays. Look at their skyrocketed. How can you can easily correlate the cancer rate to food? It's got to be the food because we're not getting the omega-3s, and the omega-6s are adulterated too. They're, the soybean oil, for an example. I keep going to soybean oil because it's the worst kind. And that's what they serve in restaurants. And that's why I say if you go to a restaurant, you're not going to get anything good, okay? You might as well have get a prescription while you're there. Okay, so what does the Extend Life Essential Fatty Acids do? All this stuff right here. It actually gets rid of the craving for sugar or carbohydrates. And that's one of the biggest factors that I like about it, because I don't need to eat sugary things. It doesn't, because I have the energy. Look at me now. I mean, I get up 3:15 every day, even on the weekends. And my energy levels are through the roof because my body's adapted to burn fat for energy, not sugar. Very little sugar do I have to take in. I can go sugar free. Okay, that's how I can stay so lean. All right, and what I do with my clients is I start them off on a program where we taper off of your carbohydrates and start introducing the good fats, get on the fats, and your cravings are almost gone. Okay, plus the weight training. If you're diabetic, I can make you non-diabetic. I can tell you that. I've done it several times. Okay, and the way to do that is muscle loves sugar. So when you break down muscle, what are you using? You're using the sugar in your muscle called glycogen. That breaks down, dissipates into your bloodstream, goes out of your body, and then sugar in your blood goes back into the muscle. So you're starting to clean up your blood. When you clean up your blood of sugar, you can start burning fat for energy. So you start using the lipids that are triglycerides that are stored. They turn into glycerol and turn it into energy. Okay, that's how it works. You're not going to get this from anybody else. If you do, let me know. I'll go talk to them. I'd love to. Okay. So anyway. And here it is right here. Fewer sweet cravings for diabetics, lower blood sugar. If you have any kind of neuropathy, it's going to lessen that. It's great for arthritis. I had a lady taking fish oil, and she had a rheumatoid arthritis. I said, half of your problem is that you're taking another inflammatory. Fish oil is an inflammatory. It's the worst thing in the world. Where did anybody come up with fish oil being good for you? Where's the metabolic pathway for that one? I'd like to see it. Fish oil spoils at 70 degrees, number one. Number two, how do we know that the fish that you're getting the oil from actually ate plants or other fish or to get the omega-3 to begin with? I mean, if you eat a freshly caught trout, you're getting the omega-3, the good stuff. Okay, because that trout had to eat algae or seaweed or whatever they eat to get into the meat, and you eat the meat, that's fine. But grinding up fish heads and squeezing out the oil and then putting it in a capsule and saying it's good for you, I don't know who came up with that, but it's the number one selling supplement in the world. Wow, kudos for them. They're making a lot of money, but it's not doing you any good. So anyway, I got her off the fish oil, put her on the Extend Life EFAs, which is essential fatty acids. And her pain levels went totally down from a 9 to about a 4. Talking about the metabolic pathways. Here's your omega oils on top. Down to cholesterol. Is cholesterol good? Yeah, you would die without cholesterol. Cholesterol is the transportation of the oxygen going to the cell membrane. Again, in that cancer is caused by lack of oxygen in the cell membrane, mostly. Now there's some other, it's not 100%, but it's mostly. So these are the metabolic pathways. I won't bore you with this. Again, I have doctors and physicians that I work with. They don't take my my heart rate on my arm, so I have a team of physicians and doctors. This guy's 80. When this picture was taken, he's 83 now. He was 80 years old doing a bodybuilding contest at 80 years old. He took the IGF-1, which is the growth hormone. He's on testosterone because he's 80 years old. You know, your levels diminish to nothing. And look at the guy. All right. And by the way, I've gotten permission from him to talk about it. I don't talk about patients like that unless I get their permission. Anyway, look at him. So we're on TV, by the way, doing an interview with Channel 11, I think it was. All right, before and after pictures. All right, look at this lady. Now this is recent. This is April of last year. And this is January of this year. And now she looks fantastic, and she still lifts with me. She had some surgery done on some loose skin. My God, it's just, she doesn't look like the same person. She has to wear a name tag at work because they can't recognize her anymore. Here's another good example of a guy. No, here's another lady. And this wasn't too long ago. It took her a little bit longer, but, you know, being consistent, being patient, and giving it the time, it's going to come through. And they keep it off. That's the main thing. It's sustainable. When you can sustain this, you know, then it's worth it. By the way, this guy's 70, he's 86. He just passed away in December. But he was 79 years old in this picture, and these are a pair of his pants that he used to wear. So even throughout his 70s, he lost, I think it was 78 pounds. I think that was the number, something like that. Here they are right here. Yep, pretty close. And this lady, she was up to 400 pounds before she came to me. And she was tipping the scales around 300. And then she lost almost 100 pounds. So, and this guy right here. Everybody loves that picture. And of course, my lovely spouse. Now, you look at her and you say, well, she didn't have a whole lot of weight to lose. Well, look at the difference in the skin tightening and the conditioning, you know, and the muscle tone. Of course, she's tanned up and under lights, of course, and makeup and all that stuff. But, you know, and, you know, I take on male and female physique and bodybuilder clients. You know, it's just not all people with conditions or age or anything like that. Even I have a fat story. Yeah, look at that. I retired from the pharmaceutical industry in 2003, and I played a lot of golf and drank a lot of beer. And I decided I took a year off from doing anything and got myself back in shape. And that's how I got into being a personal trainer full time. And it took me about 9 months to get from there to there. And then after that, once you get down to that level, then it's just maintenance. It's not that bad. Whoop, wrong way. Well, this guy actually gained weight. And look at the difference. He gained 4 pounds. And look at his waist. All right, this is the lady that actually cooks for the Fit and Firm Foods I talked about. So you can get you put in an order. It's on my website, or go to fitandfirm.com. And she's the cook. She's from Trinidad. I don't know how she does it, but she just makes the most healthiest food taste the best. Anyway, so, and that's her before and after pic. All right, who's next? All right, we're looking for a before picture from somebody and an after picture. Just go ahead to raybessette.com, get on my website. I also have a YouTube channel, so you can view some more of my my YouTube videos, and please subscribe if you like what you see, and like it if you like it. And if you have any comments or any questions, go ahead and send them to me. I answer all questions. And to get a hold of me, my physical address is right here at Raw Gym in Tomball, Texas, which is really in Houston. And those are all my accounts. And again, raybessette.com will get you to all this stuff. Anyway, so I'd like to thank everybody for sharing the time with me, and I hope you learned something. I don't mean to trash any of the products that I showed on the screen, but we have to be honest. I mean, if something that you rub on that's a cream that makes, or a pill that you take, if it actually makes you motivated and you go and change a bunch of stuff and it works, by God, then do it. If you want to pay that kind of money and it works, then it works that way. But it's not really working physically. And one day you're going to figure that out, and then you're going to go back to your old lifestyle. Now, with a person like me, I'm going to teach you everything there is to know about your body, as much as you want to know. Now, if you don't want to know anything, we can talk about Dancing with the Stars or Ninja Warriors. Okay, we can talk, or politics, you name it. We can talk about anything when we're training. But if you want to learn the science of losing weight and actual fat weight and how to maintain that weight loss and have sustainable and something that you can live with, that's the most important thing. You have to live with it. I don't tell you that you can't have anything. If you want to drink, you want to smoke, that's up to you. Okay, I'm just going to tell you what the consequences are or what is going to happen. Now, normally I don't say anything about drinking and smoking or tobacco or anything or whatever you do, okay, because a lot of times you start seeing results in yourself and it starts to fade away, or you stop on your own anyway, or it comes up to be an occasion. But I never say anything about alcohol or tobacco or anything like that. I don't have to. Again, there's enough to think about, and like I mentioned before, a lot of times most people just quit or slow down immensely, or just save it for a special occasion. So anyway, Ray Bessette signing out, and don't forget to subscribe and go to raybessette.com and look at some of my blogs. You know, get on my YouTube channel, Ray Bessette, at Ray Bessette, and go from there. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave me some messages in the comment section. And over and out for now. Stay healthy.